Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, podcast we discuss all things USMNT, ligamx, and la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. Joining me once again, my co-host Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, Nations League's done, man. Mexico
I
champions.
know.
How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. Doing all right. And I've been thinking, I don't know what's cringier. The fact that Will Smith was the show portion, the entertainment portion of the game, or Clyde Lowry trying to trash talk Mexico and the USMNT.
No, there was a lot of cringy moments. Also, Jesse Marsh getting a red card in that match and getting sent off. But not here to talk about that match. Here to talk about the final, Panama, Mexico. Mexico winning 2-1 in regular time with a 92nd minute penalty by El Lobo, Raul Jimenez. Raul Jimenez brace. Raul Jimenez 3 goals in 2 games here in the Nations League for Mexico. And Mexico first title since 2023 when they won the Gold Cup is winning the Nations League and first time winning the Nations League. On the 4th try, and it looks like now, Adrian, Mexico's back to the pinnacle, to the summit of CONCACAF.
It looks like, at least in paper, they are the champion of CONCACAF by default, right? Because they won the last Gold Cup and they just won the Nations League.
Gold Cup, Nations League, CONCACAF U17, CONCACAF U20.
Here we go. So I guess we can say that Mexico is back to be top dog in CONCACAF.
Yep. I don't think there's any denying that after this performance and after the USMNT and Canada's performance in this Nations League Final Four. But big picture, looking from the umbrella view, looking top down, Panama did not make this easy for Mexico.
No, it was a very tough match. It was a very, very tough match. I think Panama, continued to stick to their guns, play their style. They were highly aggressive on the mid block towards the front block. They were putting Mexico in a pinch a lot of times, and not only due to physicality, but also by a lot of great link-up plays. You can definitely see how Christensen, their coach, was a pupil of now deceased Johan Cruyff. You can tell that they liked playing from all the way from the bottom, building those plays, taking advantage of that short passes, and all the linkage between Carrasquilla and the other players was monumental, to say the least.
Yeah, and the lineup that Mexico chose to kind of break down this block that Panama, had in front of them, a 4-4-2 with Malagon in the back, El Reyes in the right back, Jesus Gallardo on the left back, the 2 center backs, Cesar Montes, Johan Vasquez. Up front was Chino Huerta on the left, Alvarado on the right. In the middle was Luis Romo and edsonalvarez. And up strikers were the double pivot of Santi Jimenez and Raul Jimenez. Like we said, El Lobo, Raul Jimenez getting both goals this match. What did you like about this formation, Adrian? Obviously, the change here was getting Cesar Montes back in, right, and putting Edson back in his native kind of midfield role. Did you think that helped Mexico here?
I think it did. Because if you look at even though Panama's formation left Waterman on his own for a lot of times, whenever he was a lot of times he was just getting the ball on his own. I think Cesar Montes and Johan Vasquez did a lot of great challenges towards him. They were, we've seen them play for more than a year now together, and it was like nothing. It was like didn't matter that Cesar Montes was suspended for a couple of matches, and the fact that he can just drop in and be the center back that he normally is for Mexico was great to see. I think Mexico gained some needed aerial defensiveness with Cesar Montes.
Yep.
Again, as I said, battling Waterman was not an easy task, and I think Cesar Montes and Johan Vasquez, when needed, were they had a good performance specifically on that end.
It was the same kind of match that they beat USMNT with Panama here, basically holding and waiting to get that counterattack, right? We saw Mexico actually give possession to Panama a lot of the time. If you look at the stats here, Panama had 54% possession compared to Mexico's 46. But however, Mexico dominated in shots, 15 shots for Mexico, 8 for Panama. Shots on target, 5 for Mexico, 4 for Panama. But more passes for Panama. So more of the ball was held by Panama, but it seemed that the more dangerous plays were always coming from Mexico, and Panama was more, like you said, just possession-based, but not with a lot of real threat going forward, right? They were dangerous in a couple, set pieces and a couple corner kicks, but other than that, I think they were just waiting it out, maybe trying to get to extra time or looking for that real big possible counterattack.
Yeah, to your point, Panama was essentially just doing whatever they did against the USMNT. Playing very well defensively, super disciplined middle block, and just hoping to have like a break, like they did on that penalty that they got called out, right? There was a good link of play, good build up, and that ended up in a poor deflection by Malagon, and then an unfortunate late kick by Johan Vasquez. But I think Panama, as you said, was definitely working towards, let's push the game until the 120 minute. See if we take it all the way to the penalties, we might have a better chance at
Hmm.
doing that. And the one thing that I do want to mention about Mexico and Vasco Aguirre is, there's a saying in Mexico that goes, el que defiende por obligación pierde, no, el que defiende por necesidad pierde por obligación. In this case, I think is not necessarily applying to Mexico, because Mexico is not defending because they need to defend. I
Hmm.
think El Vasco Aguirre understands that the bulk, or the most of the talent that he has available is not talent that can, build from the back, that are strong at link up plays. He understands that the biggest, I guess, threat that Mexico has is being a very solid defensive block, which was shown against Canada, and also shown today. And so that's why I think, regardless of whatever the scores were, you call it lucky or just getting the benefit of the doubt from the referees on both matches. I think there's no denial that Mexico did put up a great display of defensive power on both matches.
Yeah, no, and I don't think it was lucky. I know you weren't saying that I said it was lucky, but just in general, I don't think it was lucky. I think the performances for Mexico both were very mature, very professional performances. Very the best team of the tournament, the Final Four for sure, in terms of chances created, in terms of dangerous chances created. Maybe they didn't have as much possession as their opposition, but they had the better plays, the more how would I say it. The better formation, the better game plan to win it, and I think they had the more drive to win it. Yes, that 90th minute penalty, stupid mistake by the Panamanian
I
defender. Right
know.
after holding off for 90 minutes, you're about to go to extra time.
uh,
It's kind of how the USA lost to Panama in that game, right? Kind of just switching
mhm,
off there in the last second. You're Mexico, you take those, and El Lobo took
mhm.
it and buried that professional, really good penalty. I don't know if you saw Cristiano Ronaldo's penalty in the Euro or the Nations League for the Europe. The complete
No, I didn't
opposite of
see
that. That was a horrible penalty. But El Lobo buries his, and El Lobo now gets to 40 goals, the third Mexican player to do that behind Chicharito and Javier Borghetti.
it.
What a tournament he had, what a season he's having, and best number 9 in CONCACAF.
Yeah, no, I think as of right now, he's definitely the best Mexican player out there, and for sure deserves to be called up. Maybe at least for now, perhaps the 2024-2025 Concacaf player, yeah, right, of the I guess soccer year in
Yeah.
general. So yeah, I think there's no denial. I know that we had some questions or doubts as to which Jimenez should be the starting Jimenez, and I think these two matches prove that both of them can start. But if you have to choose one, we have to stick with the OG Jimenez, Raúl El Lobo Jimenez.
Yep. And something I was thinking during the match here, Mexico, if they won, which they did, we saw them in 2023 when they did not win the Nations League. They sent their full squad to the Gold Cup. Do you think this Mexico team's going to now send their full squad to the Gold Cup, or will they let that squad rest? Or will they say, these are one of the few chances we have before the World Cup, so we have to send our Gold Cup, A team to the Gold Cup?
It has to be the A team, dude. I really don't see how, or I wouldn't understand if they have an excuse to not send the A team. At least the squad that is the closest, or the one that they pretend to take to 2026, just because of how little time they have to iron things out. And the thing that you and I have been discussing for over the last almost 4 years, um, being the host of a World Cup puts you in a position where you don't have a lot of friendly matches available with
Right.
decent opposition. Right now, Copa Oro isn't necessarily the best opposition, the best teams that you can play with, but I know they're going to have a couple of guests on the tournament, so I think it would be a very poor decision to not take the A team to this tournament, just because it's the last big tournament you're going to have before, literally a year before the big World Cup. So regardless of the outcome of this Nations League, I think El Vasco Aguirre knows that he has very little time to
Yep.
continue working with the squad, and it doesn't make any sense to not call up all these players unless they are stuck in the Mundial de Clubes, which I think, for example, Monterrey players, Pachuca players, and well, not Leon necessarily now,
Yeah.
but they will be technically, from what I understand, not necessarily eligible, or even the clubs have asked La Federación Mexicana to not call them up because they are prioritizing the Club World Cup. So what does this mean? Well, Monterrey doesn't really provide any players anymore, but Pachuca does. one or two players. So yeah, I to answer your question, I don't think they should be using a B team or C team for Copa Oro.
I agree. It's going to be interesting summer for Mexico here. The Giants, los Gigantes de CONCACAF de nuevo again, and they are going to be wanting to continue that streak here with another back-to-back, Copa Oro, Nations League, Copa Oro performance here. Yeah, Adrian, anything else you want to add before we wrap up this episode?
No, man. I mean, this has been perhaps the two best matches that I've seen of Mexico over the last since 2022, I guess. Since the last World Cup. Um, Listen, I'm not a huge fan of El Vasco. I think he did what he had to do, regain that that confidence, at least regionally speaking, which he's slowly getting. And I don't know if you feel this way, but I surely do. Even though he's the head coach, I can see Rafamarquez hand on the strategy, formation, and a bunch of other things on this Mexican squad. So I really hope that we continue to see his touch of, I guess, his style of play as we get closer to 2026.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was texting my cousins about that during the match. That the Rafa Marquez effect probably has ignited the fire in these players that we for maybe the last 10 years haven't seen with the likes of those Santos brothers, Hector Herrera, those types of players who are just playing like for themselves. He's probably reignited that passion of what it means to play for eltri and that the green jersey. So yeah, I definitely, aside from the tactics that Rafa Marquez brings to the table, he probably brought that being who he is, that experience and that knowledge and the passion for this. But yeah, Adrian, man, as we wrap up this episode, brother, where can listeners find us, dude?
They can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on Instagram and TikTok. We post memes, latest news, and shorts of our episodes.
Yeah, so be sure to follow us on preferred social media platform of choice and hit the little bell here on Puro Pinche Gol on YouTube so you can always be notified of our new content as it comes out weekly. So yeah, Mexico, champions of Nations League. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. How do you rank this Mexico team amongst previous great Mexico teams? What do you rank this performance, and what do you rank this Nations League? How do you rate it as a whole? Let us know. We like interacting with you guys down there in the comments. Adrian, good episode. See you in the next one, bro.
Deuces.
See ya.